All right. We have started a series on gratitude. We started last week, and we talked about gratitude being the highest form of unconditional love. Is anybody working with it this week?
Yes.
Anybody been recklessly grateful as you're roaming through your days?
Yes.
All right. Now, Spirit asked our church to take an assignment, a commitment, that we would write in a gratitude journal every day. How many of you have been doing it? Yay! Okay. Patrick, how many of you were not here and need a journal? Adriana, come help Patrick give journals out. The idea, as we spoke last week, was that if you write something in it every day, it makes your mind start looking for the good things that are happening so you can start putting forth the gratitude to the universe, to God. And remember, we talked about that closing the circle. If you don't quite understand what I'm saying, you need to probably go watch the YouTube, because it is really important for us to get into that beautiful chi of gratitude. And I have such terribly busy days, wonderfully busy days. But Patrick and I keep these by the bed. I actually keep it on the floor. So as I'm getting ready to crawl into bed, I see my thing that I need to write in. So the very last thing that I do before I go to sleep is I take a moment just to list a few little things that I am so grateful for. And, you know, we start out with simple things. I'm grateful that for the new bookstore. I'm grateful I have 2 interviews this week. I'm grateful that the car and the truck didn't hit me when he was coming right at me. I'm grateful that Jana and Amy and Mike are coming down. I'm grateful that the truck didn't hit me. That got 2 posts. And as we're posting it, I was healing the moment of trauma when the truck came at me. I'm celebrating friends coming down. The bookstore got a couple posts in here. So it doesn't matter what you write. It matters what you feel in that moment. You know, how are you feeling? And it sets up a beautiful tone in your soul to
Receive.
Yes, ma'am, to receive greater. To receive greater. But can you be grateful in order to receive?
Yes.
No, you cannot. That's not gratitude. If you are being grateful just so you can receive, you cannot do that. Is not gratitude. That is manipulation and what the world does. We're not doing that. So, little simple things, little simple entries. Have y'all who have been doing it found that your mind's now starting to peak and think differently? Perfectly. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. All right. Today's service is about melting the obstacles so I can see clearly. In order to grow, we have to see things differently. Do y'all realize that? Do you want to grow?
Yes.
Okay. All right. How many times do we actually reach out to God because things aren't working? A lot. We have a lot of people that are drawn to the church out of curiosity, but we have more people that are drawn to the church because nothing else is working in their lives. And they've hit their knees. I love it when you hit your knees. I love it when I hit my knees. That means I am ready. I am going to listen to anything God tells me. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to logically reason why that could not be. I'm going to do. So those are the moments when we really are at the level of consciousness where we need to grow. Blessed is he who has hit a wall, for he has found how far he can go without God. So those are beautiful moments for us to actually begin the growing process. And should we express those with gratitude? But do we? No, we typically don't. But we want to grow things differently. Okay. We want to, challenges actually open our eyes so we can see things differently. We can look at something differently when we are challenged. If we keep looking at it the same way as we always have, we end up fighting that brick wall in front of us. How many? Okay. How many invested years in that? Yeah, and the brick wall never changed, did it? You couldn't even get a hole in it. It's still there, and it's being made stronger by the energy you're putting into it. So when we are challenged, we're really being asked to look at life with different eyes. So every time you're ready to change, every time you're asking for a change, you will be shown how. So I have a beautiful story to share with you of my history. So we're going back in time, before some of you were born. But anyway, I had just begun the metaphysical walk, and I was working in corporate. It's a good story. You can take notes if you want. Just begun. And I was working very diligently and very hard and applying principles using my affirmations. I was really good, and I was just a worker girl. And it came time for my review. And my boss decided that he would review me the way he reviewed everybody else. You got a 1, 2, 3, or 4. 4 was excellent, 3 was okay, mediocre, 2 was you're in trouble. Well, he gave me my review. I'd been there a year. And this is a big corporation. This is a global corporation. I'm in a small faction of it. But it's big, I don't know everybody. And he gave me 3s. And I went to him and I said, "Excuse me? You gave me 3s. Why didn't you give me 4s? And he said, "Because nobody gets 4s. I said, "Excuse me? Do you not know what I've done for you this year?" And I started listing all of the accomplishments. "Do you not understand this?" And he goes, "I do, and I know you're fabulous, but I cannot give you a 4. "Why can you not give me a 4? "Because corporate would not like it." "What? Give me a 4. He said, "I can't." I said, "Well, if you can't give me a 4, why do they have 4s? And he couldn't answer that question. So he gave me my review. It's an 8.5 by 11, both-sided. And I had a teeny little square that I could put 6 lines in. That's all my rebuttal space. And I decided I was not handling it well because I'd done really, really well. I had inherited another whole division's accounts receivables that were probably 80% past 120, and most of them were years old in bad debts type stuff. I'd collected most of it in a year. So the past due of the total combined was about around 60, 70% when I got all of them together, and it was less than 10 at the end of a year. That's damn good. I had so many accomplishments. You're dealing with numbers. Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. This is an opinion. So in my little bitty square, I thought, what can I say? Well, I decided I'm not going to fight this man. I'm not going to fight this man. I'm a metaphysical chick. So I wrote, "I am ... exceptional." And then I wrote one little line about my accomplishments, reduced past due from whatever percentage it was to under 10%. I had the exact numbers, of course. "I am extraordinary." And I wrote something else that I'd accomplished. And I put 5 E words there. Excellent. I don't know where I got them all, but the Spirit gave them to me. So my little box had these 5 little words where it was E, 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 E. Why? To draw the eye. Now you're going to read what I wrote. And then my little explanation, I gave it back to him, and I said, so be it. I got my little tiny raise, and I was pretty much done with it until someone from HR came to me, and my HR from my little department, and she said, who do you think you are? What do you mean? What you wrote on your review, that was not nice. That was outrageous. You are a renegade. It's like, it's the truth. She said, well, corporate HR has called us about it, because it went from our HR to corporate HR, and this is a huge global company. They called us about it because there was nothing they could do. I'm not fighting them. They can't come and make me calm down. I'm not mad. I'm speaking truth. They can't argue with the numbers. They see it. But who is this broad saying these things to us? And she said, you're getting us in trouble. I said, okay, now I am now famous in all the HRs, which is fine. I kept doing my business. But the reality is I had no idea that in 2 years' time, God was going to ask me to step out of corporate and begin to slide into ministry, which would end up being full-time in a matter of a blink of an eye. And God needed me to claim and define who I was in that moment. Are you going to fight him? Or are you going to redefine yourself? And when I handed it in, I was done. I was absolutely done with it. But it was a turning point for me because I was able to look at it differently. Why do I have to show you who I am? The numbers are speaking. There's nothing else I can do to show you if you don't want to see it. And I'm not going to spend my life trying to prove to you I am who I say I am. I'm just going to say who I am. Do you see? It was a powerful moment of actually, I was a young girl with a baby. I'm just a young girl with a baby trying to make it in the world, you know? But it was a powerful moment for me to claim what was true for me without playing the game that was being offered. I'm not going to play that game. So the rest of the story is this. About a year later, the boss of my boss called me into his office. And he sat me down and said, Cindy, how do you deal with your boss? We know he gave you a hard time on the review. Everybody knew it. How do you deal with him? I said, I pray a lot. And he goes, we're just having a real hard time with him. I said, well, good luck with that. And they ended up letting him go because his fear of breaking rules kept him immobile. His fear of being honest, you know, he just was no longer an outside. So they did let him go, but not because of me. But they came to me for insight into what I had been feeling. Later, about a year later then, now I'm at 2 years out, it was time. And God said, Cindy, I'm going to ask you to step out. And it was like, oh my God, you're going to ask me to leave a paycheck. Okay. And I said, God, you know what? If you're going to ask me to do this, I'm going to ask from you to give me $3,000. Because my bills were $1,500 a month at the time. Remember, we're talking a long time ago. And I knew that between me and God, 2 months, 2 months can do anything. Give me enough money for 2 months, and you and I can do anything if anything happens. And I got a call from my ex-boss, and he wanted me to do some pro forma financial statements for a company that he was getting ready to build. So, okay, so I started doing that, and then he wanted me to help him with his financial statements for the bank, did that, prepared his tax return, did all that. Now, remember, these are wages from the 80s, so it took some hours to get to the $3,000. But I got to the $3,000, and my extra work stopped. Do you think I spent that money? No! That was the money I asked God for. So I blessed it, and I cashed it, and I put it in my little sock, and I said, thank you, God, I'm ready. I gave my notice. HR came to see me. This time it was someone that wasn't mad at me. This time it was a girl who I happened to know her name, but I didn't know her. And she knew me because everybody in HR knew me. I was apparently talked about for quite a while, and I don't think the energy ever died. She came into my office, and she said to me, Cindy, I got your resignation, and I should not be here, nor should I be telling you this. And I said, oh, please, sit down. I'm ready. She said, this company sets aside a percentage of your salary every year. Even if you don't invest yourself, they put it in an investment for you. And once you're fully vested, that money is yours. And she said, you have resigned 10 days before your full investment. And I went, oh, she said, would you like to change your resignation date? And I said, I absolutely would like to change my resignation date. I changed it for I put it out maybe a couple of weeks. And the money that was mine was around $3,600. So I not only got my $3,000 from my efforts, I also got my $3,000 straight from God. Now, to me, it was a manna from heaven. It was just one miracle after the other, and it continued as I moved into my further journey. But the point of the stories, I can tell you this now, and it's a beautiful, concise little story, and it's wonderful. Yay! It's a long game, people. It was a long story. It's a long story. I did not see how that moment of going through that pain of being not loved, excuse me, what's not to love here? Mediocre? Oh, I don't think so. I'm either really bad or really good, but I'm not mediocre, you know? So there was a whole lot of processing that had to go on for me to redefine myself, for me to take an obstacle and come to peace with it, to take a challenge, to look at it differently. And when I put in that statement about my review, I actually also disengaged from their power over me. I am this, and for as long as I am here, I will be this for you, but I am not going to look to you to save me, and I'm not going to look for you to be my forever job. You are serving me now, and this is who I am. And it set up into motion a new perspective of myself. So that when Spirit asked me to go, do you not think I thought I was exceptional, extraordinary, excellent, all the E's? I had that belief of myself so he could take me into a different role and a different path. You guys getting it?
Yeah.
I just think it's way cool, but it's a long process sometimes before we see the full impact of everything that we're doing. So, obstacles stop our forward motion, so we have to rethink our approach. I want you to really think of that. Obstacles stop our forward motion for us to rethink our approach. We have to. Get it? Challenges help us redefine what we really believe in and who we are so we can get clarity. Challenges make us rethink for clarity. How many of you, when you're challenged, let's say by someone with a different viewing point, and they're telling you very loudly their opinion, that you just get louder than them? Nope. Anybody married? That tactic is employed continually. I'll just yell louder than you. But a challenge is really about seeing it differently. If we all could just stop and say, okay, I need to see something more clearly here. There's something I'm missing. And shift just a little bit, then we can grow. So there is a scripture in the Bible that I always go to, and it's probably familiar to you guys, but as a little kid, it's one that I held on to. I really enjoyed it. It is the scripture that says you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. You meant to do that to cause me bad, but God means it for good. Do you remember that? It's mentioned one time that I have conscious memory of in the Bible, and it's in the Old Testament, it's in Genesis, and it's the story of Joseph. Remember Joseph in the coat of many colors? Joseph, our little psychic boy, he was a fabulous little psychic boy. In that story, Joseph was not liked by his brothers because his father had one wife and a favorite wife and two concubines, all of which were giving him children, and he was the firstborn son of the favorite wife. So do you think he was kind of pampered a little bit? Sure. His brothers didn't like him. And Joseph had this great talent of dream interpretation because Joseph was kind of a psychic little baby. So his brothers got mad at him and sold him into slavery. Someone else got mad at him and sold him into the prison. And in prison, he does dream interpretation again. Now, that got him in trouble the first time. This time, it didn't get him so much in trouble. Didn't help him immediately. Down the road, Pharaoh needed somebody to interpret a dream. Joseph was able to do that. Then he was put in a place where he could benefit. And he told his family, you guys did not want good for me, but God needed me to get to be with Pharaoh so I could benefit the whole country of Egypt because he saved them from famine through his dream interpretation. Got it? It's a long game. But who was Joseph? Joseph was a dream interpreter. That was who he was. And when he first started exercising who he truly was, it wasn't met with yay, was it? It wasn't met with celebration. And he probably didn't own it fully. But as he grew and matured, the opportunities were given to him to use it in a way that would benefit the whole. He began to define himself as that person. God meant it for good. And Spirit said this, if Joseph had not done his job and started learning who he was, if Joseph had not really started owning who he was, and we started talking about the Egyptian famine, we would be talking about Marvin the Magnificent, who appeared and saved Egypt from the famine, because Joseph did not do his job. Spirit would have found somebody because Egypt needed to be saved from the famine. Isn't that kind of scary for you? If something needs to be done for the good of the whole, and it's yours to do, and you opt out, Spirit will find someone. Because it needs to be done for the good of the whole. They may not be as good as you, they may not be as fabulous as all those E's, but if it needs to be done, it'll get done. And has anybody ever been called forth to do the work of another? I have, and I know it's not mine to do, and I know it's not mine to do, and I'm not happy when I do it. And Spirit goes, you're the only one we got. The one who was supposed to do it did not show up. Okay, I'll do it. I got to learn to be happy about that. And I share this with you to say those challenges you're facing are preparing you for what you need to be doing. The challenges you're facing are preparing you to be different, to be stronger, to be brighter, to be all that you can be, to own who you are, so that you can show up where you need to show up for yourself and the world. And we need to embrace them with a grateful sense of gratitude. Doesn't that sound like so easy? Okay. All right. I have been undergoing a stress level this past month or two that is so high, it rivals some of the stress I experienced when I was in corporate, when I had no control of what was happening around me. It's been so high, and I've actually said to Bonnie, whoever was around me, I've actually said, man, the payoff from what I'm going through has got to be immense because I'm going through a lot. Like I am dropping balls left and right. I can't remember everything that's going down because I need some help in here, you know? And I just declared, well, this must be really big. And it came to me, you know, Cindy, it's not going to be really big because you haven't shifted your perception toward it. Why is it still here? Why is it still bothering you? Oh, simple. When I begin to look at the pressure differently, when I begin to look at myself in the pressure differently, when I now redefine myself in the middle of all of it differently, then the benefit comes. Then I can be lifted up. Then the showers come through. Do you see? Isn't that so amazing? So I was speaking with someone, and I'm just going to share a little bit, because what they said was so insightful to me. They said, I follow my guidance. I get the guidance to do something, and I'm guided to do it, and I'm so excited to do it, and I know it's right, and I feel the commonality, and I know I'm supposed to do it, and then I stop listening to God, and I start looking at what I'm guided to do to tell me what to do next. But you sent me here, God. Yeah, I did. Well, aren't I supposed to keep doing that? No, you're supposed to keep listening. I sent you there to do something. Now listen to the next step, and the next step, and the next step. Stay clear with me. Don't fold into what's happening. And how often have I folded into the familiar? Or God said, do that. Well, I'll do it. Well, then, yeah, it's done, and I'll just keep doing whatever the circumstances tell me to do. Even if they become obstacles, I look at them to give me the answer, because God brought me here. Oh, you're an obstacle now. Okay, what am I supposed to do with you? Instead of stepping back and saying, God, you know what? You brought me here. Show me why. We have to stay in that flow. We have to stay in that energy in order to shift perception of self. And when that was shared with me, I was like, bells went off like crazy. Oh, thank you so much. I needed that. And I began to shift my opinion. And I told God, whatever you need, on my knees, I'm on my knees, whatever you need, I'm there. So I'm expecting something fabulous to come on the other side of this. Our whole idea of obstacles, if we really realize these are opportunities, this is when you should feel gratitude coming up within you going, oh, thank you. I cannot wait to see how we're going to get through this. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. God, I'm still listening. I'm going to follow. Just show me what to see. And the hardest thing that you'll ever change is your own opinions. But when you're grateful, you're willing. That's the beauty of gratitude. When you become grateful to change your opinions, then you're willing to change your opinions. Challenges become moments of clarity. Have you ever had a spouse or partner yelling at you? And you actually, I have, and you actually stop. You actually stop in that moment, and you don't say anything out loud because that would just exacerbate the situation. But you stop in that moment, and you go within, and you say, what is happening here? What have I done, and what is wrong with them? And what do I need to see? While this is going on, have you noticed how calm you get? And it's like, you know what? I hear you that you're attached to something that I cannot help you with because I don't understand it. I hear that. So if I can help you in any way, let me know. But I can't help you from here. I can ask to understand, but right now, I just got to be still. I just gave you the key to relationships. I don't have to fight any of the obstacles. I need to be grateful for those obstacles because that's when I'm going to grow. I don't have to fight the challenges. I need to be grateful for the challenges because that's when I'm going to grow. Sometimes growth becomes action. Sometimes growth just becomes being still. Sometimes it's just redefining and claiming who you are inside. You will know what you need to do. But if you can feel the gratitude first, everything kind of flows beautifully. Got it?
Got it.
Let's go within. I want you just to begin to feel the light of your own heart. And just think of the word gratitude in your heart for a moment. Gratitude. Can I be grateful for what is uncomfortable? Can I be grateful for not being perfect exactly as I am? Even though I am exactly perfect. Can I be grateful? See a beautiful column of light come over you and feel your higher self, that Christ within you, just begin to vibrate and shine. Feel great love moving through your body into the arc field. Divine child of God, begin to feel the perfectness of who you are in this moment, exactly where you are. You have manifested a level of perfection, and it is good. Feel your arc field, feel the light around you, and feel how content it might be. But I want you to remember a desire that you had to grow, to get bigger, brighter. And as you feel the desire, let yourself lift up the column of light into a space of brightness. A space of pure, bright light. Just let yourself go. Feel the expandedness of your nature. Feel the peace around you. And I want you just to feel your consciousness and become aware there are parts of you that are not here. You are calm. You are at peace. There are parts of you that have been left behind. And feel that you are perfect at that level of consciousness. God's child. Whatever is going on in your world, feel this bright light and know that that is you and greater. That is you and greater. And I want you to take a deep breath and breathe in that light. Breathe it in. And just bring that light back down the column to where we began. And I want you to just send that beautiful white light into the column now at this lower level. Just send the white light through it. I choose to live at that higher level. And I'm grateful for all that will shift and change within me to make that happen. Feel the peace. And breathe. Father, Mother God, bless each one here. Let them know they are deeply and dearly loved exactly as they are. Let them know that the moment they seek greater, the worlds move. And let them feel your guidance in every moment. We thank you, God. Take a breath and feel your love and your gratitude to God. And gently open your eyes. Do you love yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the capacity to be brighter, kinder, wiser, whatever? And do you know it's okay to be exactly as you are? We all will still love you. Gratitude. You know what your assignment is? Every day. And this time, I want you to look for, in addition to the abundance and blessings, look for those little challenges that may be something that is teaching you. And write that down. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for that little bit of a challenge. Can you do it?
Yes.
Say, yay, God.
Yay, God.